Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Mark again here, Weatherman Plus. Now, I'm going to give you the latest update on what's going on for this week. We still have multiple tropical waves moving through. Matter of fact, the first one is already making its way into the Western Caribbean. You can see the blue convection on it. This is bringing a lot of flooding, and we're still watching for potential very weak development in the Gulf, while the second one forms somewhere around Louisiana, somewhere towards Texas, and bringing more people into a lot of flooding. We're talking about a foot or more of heavy rainfall coming down. Plus, we have severe weather coming through for this week, so I'm update you on that as well. There's small chance for tornadoes. Mostly it's going to be a potential damage and wind, but definitely a large hail threat that's coming through with that storm. And we have more intense heat that's going to start building for this week. So if you've been wondering where the heat is, if you're not in the South, it is coming for this week, bringing 80s and 90s way up towards Wisconsin and Michigan. Now remember, timestamps are in the description below to help save you time. Make sure you click the bell if you do subscribe. That way you get all the latest updates. And you can see our latest information. This is our tropical wave that we have going to the Western Caribbean. This is what's going to park over here by Florida and bring a lot of heavy rainfall. Plus, you can also see over here at the MDR, the main development region, that all that dust is suppressing any activity on all these waves as they come off the coast of Africa. They're all southern, all staying small. I'm not showing that's going to be any threat anytime soon. Maybe down the road, maybe bringing another problem. I will keep you updated. Now, yesterday we did get some hail reports and some wind damage reports, but we also had a tornado report in Colorado. Actually, two, a funnel cloud that was reported over here on eastern Colorado, and we had a land spout that was over here in southern Colorado. Now, the heat also is going to be building for this week. You can see for today, you're going to start being in the 90s for southern Mississippi, northern Florida, southern Georgia, southern Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, of course. It's going to be the 90s in the white. All this black over here going across the south and the central plains. This is all going from the high 80s, potentially going towards the low 90s, also over here towards the mid-Atlantic. But you're going to start going from the 90s towards 100 over here for southern Texas. And you can see you going over 100 over here for the southwest, for Arizona and for California, and some of Nevada as well, bringing a lot of the heat. Plus, with all these dew points, it is bringing a lot of the heat indices. So with the heat indices, you're going to be over 100 degrees for today in all of this white, and over 105 to 110 degrees as you go towards southern Texas and northern Mexico. A lot of very hot temperatures for today, and it's going to get worse as the week comes along as we get that high ridge in the center of the lower 48. Now for today, you do have a low chance for tornadoes. You have some storms coming over here towards the southeast, towards Georgia, South Carolina later on. Also building up over here for the north central, the upper Midwest, right when it comes off the Rockies. This will be later this afternoon also. So far, here's your cities and states at risk for the tornado threat for today. You also have the wind threat for today and the hail threat in the same areas. National Weather Service has isolated severe storms with large hail and severe wind gusts are expected across parts of the central and northern high plains. Scattered, strong, severe thunderstorms are also expected across portions of the southeast where hail and wind are possible. Now you can see this as you look for your thunderstorms later on. It does pop up later in the afternoon, definitely by 5 o'clock and on for the north central, for the upper Midwest, bringing some thunderstorms through. You also get some isolated in nature moving through Texas. This will be a little bit stronger later in the evening, and you get some thunderstorms that's building up for South Carolina and Georgia as you go through the night. Then you see you started getting some possible damage and winds that builds up for western Texas as you go later in the evening. Then that goes away as you go by early in the morning. Then for tomorrow, you got some more storms that might brew up for northern Minnesota. Not showing that a real strong event. You see how it starts weakening down. We also get some storms for tomorrow afternoon that pops up over here for eastern Texas. But look what happens over here for Florida. As you're starting for tomorrow morning, you're going to start getting that transition of all these storms just going over Florida. And it's going to be rounds and rounds day after day. So for tomorrow, you can see there's no chances for tornadoes as that passes by. It is going to be for slight winds and slight hail. Not a big threat at all. So far, here's your cities and states at risk for tomorrow for severe weather. And National Weather Service only has scattered thunderstorms with marginally severe wind gusts and hail will be possible on Tuesday across parts of the southern plains, central high plains, and upper Mississippi Valley. We also have some cooler temperatures that's going to be moving in for tonight also. You got the 50s in the blue. The light blue is moving into the high 40s. cooler temperatures moving through. You're really going to like that. You got some 80s and 90s moving through later this week. And you see over here for the Rocky Mountains that you have 50s moving through for tonight as well. But for tomorrow, the heat's going to come right back again. So now you still have the 90s and 100-degree temperatures over here across the southeast and northern Florida. Southern Florida, you got the storms that's going to be passing by for multiple days. So even though you got storms, it is going to bring your temperatures down because of that. And you see that you do have the 90s moving through for Texas. But now you got the 100 to 110 moving through across the southwest for Arizona, California, and Nevada. And it does get strong as you go through the day. Showing the highest could be potentially up to 117. That is showing over here from Mexico. But still you got 100 to 115 over here for Arizona as well. Now, with your heat indices, you're still going to feel it over here for southern Texas. You're still going to feel over 100, 105 degree heat indices during this time. Showing so far through this transition, you might get some 40 and 50 miles per hour wind gusts for those storms that pop up for Texas. Also over here for eastern Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, western Dakotas, and western Nebraska. As those storms build up, you could get some 40 and 50, maybe even a little bit of 60 miles per hour wind gusts with those as well. Get some winds popping up for southern Florida, nothing super high. And the winds over here for the Carolinas and Georgia, that's look like that's moving offshore. Now, as this transitions from Wednesday into Thursday, you do have chance for significant severe and all this black. This is chances for large hail. So far, here's your cities and states at risk for the severe weather risk for Wednesday. And you can see here from National Weather Service, thunderstorms expected with large hail and severe wind gusts are expected on Wednesday from parts of the mid-Missouri Valley northeastward into the upper Mississippi Valley. And as that line of storms comes further south as you go overnight Wednesday into Thursday, you still get that 15% risk. It has stretched a little bit further into Michigan. So far, here's your cities and states at risk. This will be chances for damage and winds and large hail. And you can see there is a lot of cape, a lot of convection, a lot of lift in the atmosphere for these thunderstorms to grow. Give you chances for the large hail as you go from Wednesday. Then as you go into Thursday, it kind of weakens down. Look how this line of lift starts weakening down as you go through Thursday. So it stays rather weak when you get that line of storms. You still got chances for large hail, but it's not going to be no giant or anything like that just because you don't have this amount of cape and lift over this region. So you can see here when you look for lightning strikes as you go Wednesday evening, you get that banding still of the storm system that brings this banding of lightning, maybe chances for some damage and winds. I'm not showing that just yet as that pushes through for Wednesday evening. All through Minnesota, Wisconsin, a little bit of the UP of Michigan, goes through Iowa as you go through the morning. Then it starts weakening down because your lift weakens down as you go through Thursday morning. Then as you go through Thursday evening, pops right back up just for a moment, bring in some thunderstorms, maybe some chances for some hail, not as big as what we've seen before. But also, as you go Wednesday, with this high ridge we're going into, this is going to bring our dome of heat right over to the center of the lower 48. So as you go through Wednesday, now you got all this hundreds starting to spread, not only from southern Texas, going into Mexico. Look, this is going all the way from 100 to 115 over here from Mexico, but it's spreading across Arizona, across Nevada, California again. Plus, all this black and this white right here. The black is a high 80s. The white is a 90s. Also over here across the south and the southeast. And you see how southern Florida is just losing out just on the heat. They're getting the storms, so they're going to be dealing with a lot of flooding, but they're losing the heat because of those storms. Then as you go through Thursday, look how it builds again. As you go through Thursday, now you got a lot of high 80s to 90s spread across, going all the way up towards Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio now. You even got some of the hundreds kicking in over 100 for eastern Colorado, going from Oklahoma into Kansas now. And it's getting really strong over New Mexico, western Texas, northern Mexico, Arizona, and southern California. A little bit of Utah and Nevada also. A lot of over 100 to 105 degree temperatures passing through. This is not with your heat indices. Then as you go into Friday, this is where it comes again, brings a big wide area of 100 degree temperatures. This is not the 80s now. This is bringing the 90s to the 100 degree temperatures, not to mention the dew points going all across the southwest as well. But once you go into Saturday, this is where it raises up. Saturday is where you start getting your heat coming in. Now you're getting the 90s and the 100s coming in a little bit more. And look at Sunday, it goes even higher. Brings all these, this is all high 80s to 90s. This is what that represents is all high 80s and 90s in the white. So it is bringing a lot of heat on that high ridge as we go through that transition. So whoever's wondering where the heat is coming in by this weekend and for next week. And those that's not wondering, I'm sorry, but the heat is coming. So make sure you stay hydrated. Showing with National Weather Service all the way to Wednesday. This is going to bring some rainfall into Texas. This is going to help with a little bit of your drought. You're not really getting a lot for New Mexico. You do need it. Also Kansas, you're not getting it and you do need it. But it's bringing a lot of heavy rainfall just by Wednesday over here for Florida for that tropical wave. Now you can see here in your latest drought monitor that you do need it over here for Oklahoma going into Kansas. You're not going to be getting it. You also need it over here for northern Idaho, western Montana, some of Washington. You're going to get a little bit, but you need it a lot over here for New Mexico and western Texas. Western Texas and southern Texas, it will help a little bit, not a lot. But New Mexico, you're not getting any. But look over here for Florida. This whole region right here where it's starting to build in your deficit, where you're getting a drought, all this is going to be knocked out with this tropical wave. Bringing a lot of heavy rainfall to that region just by Wednesday, and it's going to grow and continue to get worse. Remember, just is going to sit here for almost a week and just spin a lot of heavy precipitation trying to form. The shear is still going to be hitting it, keeping it somewhat weak, but it is going to be a big downpour. Matter of fact, if you can remember a couple years ago when you had potential tropical cyclone that turned into Tropical Storm Alex, very beginning of our hurricane season, you had this big flooding that happened with that. You remember that, how all that happened. This is about to spread out to a bigger and broader area. Also showing the full path is still showing two different wave impacts. We still have over here for Florida, and we still have what's going towards the western Gulf of Mexico. So far it's showing that it brings somewhere over a foot for Florida in this time, is according to the Euro. I'll show you the trend. And as it switches over when that high pressure moves, bringing almost a foot towards Texas and going towards southwestern Louisiana as well. This is going to bring a lot of flooding to multiple states. GFS sees this as well, taking it a little bit heavier. Of course, this is only the next 10 days. But that second one, it shows it will hit over towards Alabama more rather than going towards Texas. Remember, this is going to be east side loaded. So if your system is over here, this is where it would be hitting. If your system was over here in the western Gulf of Mexico, it would be hitting over towards Texas. Matter of fact, the western Gulf of Mexico, the southwestern Gulf of Mexico is your more than likely outcome. Everything else is going to remain weak, but this is a lot of flooding and maybe more coming after that. Now this is going to get intense, and this will update. Right now for today, you see the marginal for Florida, also South Central, also up here for the North Central, for the Upper Midwest. As you go through tomorrow, you're going to get a marginal into Texas, but it's going to start growing for Florida. And this is going to turn into a moderate risk, maybe even a high risk. And you see why I'm saying this. You got steady rain coming all week long for sure. Here is Tuesday getting that slight risk. Here's Wednesday growing just a little bit more. Here's Thursday just growing a little bit more. By the time you get to this point, this will not be a slight risk. This will happen so much you'll already be saturated. You will be in a moderate level risk. As you go through Friday, still sitting there in the same region. This will not stay a slight risk. I can't stress this enough. Please get sandbags. Protect your house. Protect your area. This is going to be a bad flood. I believe we will even see a moderate level risk somewheres in here, and maybe even a high risk. Latest update in the tropics, National Hurricane Center still don't have anything for the next 7 days. When you check your chances for a tropical storm, a tropical cyclone strike probability, you can see as you go towards the 17th, it is favoring over here for the southern half of the Bay of Campeche, a little bit towards northern Gulf of Mexico as this transitions towards Louisiana, possibly towards Texas. Then after that, you can see how it favors growing right into the western side of the Gulf of Mexico. Matter of fact, when you look at your potential velocity anomaly update with the Euro, you see the best chance is still from the 13th through the 17th for the favorable environment. Not showing a lot of confidence in that second wave. You see that it has dissipated. But to update with GFS, just like GFS, it has confidence in both waves. Still over here in the Eastern Gulf, getting a lot of shear. That's not believable. Also over here for the Western Gulf of Mexico, this would be your best chance, but the Euro's taken away from that also. Still showing if something forms up off the southeast and goes out to the east, it will be something very weak. And then as your best chance for formation, it will be after you get 4 and 5 days away. When it starts transitioning towards the western side of the Gulf of Mexico, that's when you have your best chance for formation so far out of this tropical wave. But if it don't form up by the 16th or the 17th for the western Gulf of Mexico, it will be consolidated because it is trough down to the southern half of the Gulf of Mexico, the Bay of Campeche. Showing in 5 days on the ensembles, a lot of them is showing a lot of weakness now. Matter of fact, all that strength that comes through every now and then is starting to dissipate. You can see it is showing a lot of weakness everywhere. This is literally a very weak, if any, tropical depression. Probably just a disorganized group of thunderstorms bringing a lot of heavy rainfall. Look right here for the control member. Not showing anything coming out of that. Maybe stretching a little bit towards Texas. But you can see the other ones showing that it will be something weak if it even does that. All the strength has left the building. All we have now is one ensemble member showing that it will go into the Gulf and potentially be something strong towards Texas. You can see here with the control member showing that that will be something weak if that transitions and does that. Still showing that, but it's not showing the strength. And look at the rest of those. No strength on any of those. But it is starting to show that something is going to pick up before we go into that unfavorable environment. We do have a lot of dust pushing west. Still showing by the Euro that it will sit here and just bring a lot of heavy precipitation all over Florida, all the way till Thursday and Friday. Now we're going to Saturday. It starts to leave Florida. Then it goes across the Gulf as you go from Sunday and on, then towards Texas after that. Showing your shear will still be above average as you get that chance for that growth. And as it curves towards Texas, that's where you have your best chance for your below average wind shear for something to form up and grow as you go from the 17th through the 20th. And you can see this on the GOES satellite as we get all this dust pushing everything to the west. Stops anything from forming. That's why the best chances over here in the western Gulf of Mexico. Then sooner or later, that's going to be shut down as well. But look at this big plume of dust going further and further to the southern side, suppressing anything from coming north. So what's coming off the coast of Africa maybe can form up later, but until then, it's going to remain very weak. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. Please prepare for the heat that's starting to move in later on this week. Everyone else still has it, but this is going further to the north. Also, whatever you can do to prepare yourself for this flooding that's possibly coming your way. So keep your heads up for any alerts of sandbags that's going out. Please go get those. That will help protect your property. And before you start your lovely week on Monday, have a great week, everybody. Before you go, Colossians 3:17 through 25. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God and the Father by him. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as it is fit in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives, and be not bitter against them. Children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well-pleasing unto the Lord. Fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they be discouraged. Servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasures, but in singleness of heart, fearing God. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord, and not unto men, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance. For ye serve the Lord Christ. But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of persons. Amen. Have a great day, everybody. Remember, all glory always goes to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh, and I always hope he keeps you safe every single day of your life and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everybody. Prepare any way that you can.